allowed to go back in? Okay. These are in the private offices, aren't they?
Alright, that's good enough.
Okay.
Okay, he just walked back in his office.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do.
Just go on in.
Without a doubt.
Knock knock.
Yes.
May I come in?
Sure.
Okay. I'm recording just for a record, that's all.
Fine.
My name's Ken.
Ken?
Nice to meet you. This is my silent deaf brother.
How are you?
I don't know if I need to talk
Have
to
a seat.
Thank you. I don't know if you're the right person, but maybe we start with you anyway, instead of going all the way to the top. Do you address complaints with the Perry Police Department by chance, when the complaint is the chief who will not accept complaints?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to address that with you,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The original complaint that I was making is that the Perry Police Department's vehicles, their cameras that are inside the patrol cars,
Yes.
don't always function properly. I addressed that with Chief when I had filed a FOIA request, or Open Record Act request, and the certified DVD copy that he gave me had no audio in there. So I addressed him with that, and he said the audio was not working in the patrol car. I said, okay, well that's an issue concern, because it should have audio inside there, because if something happens to the officer or suspect, or either one of them says anything to one another, it could be important information to either, to prove the citizen was innocent or to prove the citizen was guilty of whatever they did. It's in the public's best interest for that to happen. That was back in September when I addressed that with him. So I just came back just to do a simple follow-up, because as taxpayers, we pay for the cars and the equipment and repairs and stuff. And I went to talk to him. He wasn't there, and I spoke with the major, explaining to the major what was going on. And well, he was friendly up to the point to when he asked me for my name and phone number and stuff like that, and I just politely declined, because it wasn't prudent to the vehicle itself. It's like the equipment's broken down. I gave him the officer's name that was involved, the specific date, the unit number of the car, so he had all the information that he needed to find the vehicle. And well, after that, he just didn't want to listen to me anymore. He stood up and started to shuffle me out of his office. I said, and I asked him a question. I said, because he made mention that the cars would have been repaired. I said, well then, if they've been repaired, who did the repairs? I'm just trying to follow up on this, because people make statements all the time that are not true. So he wouldn't tell me who it was. He said, I don't have to tell you that. I said, well, as a taxpayer, he says, no. And he's like, you can leave now. Now,
When was this?
3 days ago.
Monday?
Yes. I've actually had that recorded, and I can give you a copy of the recording if you're interested in reviewing that whole conversation.
Sure.
But there was a couple of things that was concerning with the major. Is one, that he told me that if I wanted to have that investigated, I have to give him my name and telephone number. Well, it's about his equipment. I'm not making any allegations against any officer or anything else. It's about their equipment, and it's not working. So that shouldn't have had any variance on what was going on, because he could type in the name of the officer, the date, and the unit number, and pull up the video and see that it wasn't working. Chief showed me, when I went back and showed him, he made another copy for me, and I watched the process being done there. It's real quick. But anyway, he told me to come back in 3 days, which is today is 3 days, and he would have that information for me. So I came and talked to him today, the major that is, and was asking, do you have the information? Because you told me to come back in 3 days, you'd have it for me. And I said I had some FOIA requests that I wanted to submit, and as well too, well, he pulled out, I went and typed the whole thing out, as far as the complaints that I had and the FOIA requests that I have. that I try to submit to.
4-year request?
For your Freedom of Information Act is what the title is, but Georgia calls it Opens Record Act.
Right.
Okay. But I typed up the Opens Record Act reports for the vehicle and for the price listings for what it costs taxpayers for open records request, just to view those. And then I had 3 different complaints that I wanted to file.
All of them dealing with the cameras?
2 with cameras and 1 with Majors not taking my complaint the first day. And
Okay, but let me back up a sec. Didn't he advise you could come by today and he'd have the information?
That's correct.
Okay.
But when you see the video, you understand what I'm saying. Okay. The problem was that he said that he wasn't going to investigate. Then he told me to leave when I wouldn't provide the name, even though he wouldn't take. It'll explain more in the video, okay? That you'll see there. And then I asked him, he said what? He said I was being uncooperative. I'm like, I gave you the officer's name. I gave you the date that you can pull up. I've given you all the information that I know. I don't have the card. The only way I could help him anymore is if I gave him the card, literally. And anyway, moving on that part, like I said, he did tell me to come back 3 days. Today I came back to talk to him about it, and he didn't have it. So I was going to submit my complaint that I had against him for the Monday incident that had happened, on top of a complaint for the Perry vehicles, patrol cars not functioning properly with the video and audio.
Well, at least one patrol car.
At least one.
Is
At
that
least
right?
one.
Okay.
At least
Let's
one
not
confirmed. But
get it too much out of perspective.
Well,
here.
Major said in the conversation that the patrol cars, the audio and videos go on and off all the time. That was his statement.
Okay, but
So,
your particular issue
was
is with
on
one
Was
vehicle.
on one.
Okay.
Major's statement led me to believe that it was happening with multiple vehicles. That's why I just said what I just said.
Okay.
Okay. And I apologize. I'm trying to follow the flow.
I understand.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was talking to the Major today, and he was basically forcing me to sign the letter of affidavit for the complaint form that the Perry Police has there, even though that, from what I could find as far as information and law-wise, I can give a complaint verbally or in writing of my own. I don't have to sign that affidavit. And I explained that to him, and he said, "This is the process. If you want to do it by the process, you have to do it this way." And he wouldn't let me submit my own paperwork to them. I said, "Okay, if you won't take the paperwork, can I submit it orally or verbally to you?" And he's like, "No, you have to fill this form out here." The issue that I have is that it's a complaint, and he's having me sign a letter of affidavit that's sworn statement and notarized, which makes it a legal document. I don't have any legal representation to sign a legal document, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. And it's just a complaint. I'm not leading to any allegations of anything illegal activities or criminal activities or anything like that. It was just the vehicle and a bad attitude. So I felt like I was being
Okay, bad attitude relative to the Major.
to the Major. That's correct. Now, in being partial, or in trying to be impartial or unbiased as possible, there were times that I guess I was a little stubborn as well too, but I have the right to do so. I mean, that's what it boils down on that. I don't have to give him all that particular information that he was requesting, which is the name and phone number. I mean, he didn't need that part. But moving along on that, again, today I was talking to him about that. He wouldn't take the actual complaint, again, oral, verbally, or in writing that I had submitted. The chief was actually there. The chief came in and stepped in as well too, and he wouldn't accept my complaint either, verbally, writing, or in writing or anything. He said he had to go to a meeting, but I think he stayed there explaining why I had signed that affidavit or whatever, or the only way that they were going to go any further is if I'd signed the affidavit. Or he suggested too that I had to, that he said if he won't sign the affidavit, let's get him video recorded, take him back to the interview room and get him recorded. That seems like a little bit of intimidation. I'm just reporting that the vehicle's not working, and nobody's writing it down and looking into it. I came in as a taxpayer to follow up own that and make sure that it was being done like he said it was going to be done. But it wasn't. I didn't get any information. Then I tried to file 2 FOIA requests to Opens Record Act today. The major told the records lady who accepted my last FOIA request, he specifically told her not to take my FOIA request. He prevented her from taking that. And I said, sir, I said, you understand that preventing me from filing an Open Records Act, you know, from my interpretation of what I've read, is actually a misdemeanor by you telling her not to accept that. Because it's, I mean, the Georgia law and the federal law says that if it's public information, they have to take the request. Or you have to take the request anyway. You have 3 days to submit, whether, you know,
Subject to.
Right. You have to give a statement within 3 days whether you're still investigating or you need more time.
Well, if it's a public record.
Right. But you'd also reply that, you know, not open to the public. It would be a response within 3 days.
Okay.
But he refused to let her take it.
The major.
The major told her not to take it. And he said, you told her not to answer any questions or anything like that. And I'm like, what? I don't understand why he was being so aggressive with that. He has the right as a person not to listen to my complaint. He doesn't have a right as a peace officer not to listen to my complaint. Okay? Then to try to do intimidation by saying they're going to send me to a room to videotape me and record me in the interview room. I said I'd be happy to provide video and audio that I have here. You can take my complaint verbally. I'd like to have it logged so that way I can do a follow-up later. Major and Chief both confirmed that none of them provide control numbers for documenting any complaints over there. And that's an issue as well too, because if there's no tracking over there, he said there's a filing cabinet. You and I both know that a filing cabinet, if that's the only way of tracking stuff, it comes up missing all the time. And I say, because I used to work in the federal government, think paperwork comes up missing. But there was no control number that they submit to for anybody to go back and track anything. And that's a concern as well too. But then I went over to the municipal court side to ask the lady over there if I could submit the Opens Record request to her. As I'm talking to her, she gets a phone call. I cannot swear by this, but I can file a FOIA request to ask when that phone call was done and from whose office. But as soon as she picked up the phone, she hung up and said, I can't answer any of your questions. And he's already been telling everybody else not to answer any of my questions and not to service and not to help me. And that's the major that was. And I'm like, wow. I said, all I'm doing is trying to file open records to look at the fee schedule. And he said, he accused me of lying in my statement. He said, if you don't want to sign an affidavit, notarized affidavit, you must be lying. I don't have to be lying to want to refuse to sign a legal document that can be used in court without legal representation. I have that right to legal counsel before signing something for a police officer that can be used against me in court. And that's what I was trying to tell him. And anybody can complain about anything to any public official about any problem. That's our constitutional rights to address our grievances with our government. But Major's over there shutting everybody down, and the chief, he wouldn't take the information either. He said, you can reschedule with me when you would be more cooperative. I said, I can't be any more cooperative. I took the time and typed everything out for you, my statement, and was giving it to you. You know, so you didn't have to write everything down. I'd read it out loud to you and hand you the statement, so you have everything there. You got a verbal and a written statement. But they didn't want to take that. They would only take it if it was written on that affidavit. Which again, I don't know what my legal rights are as far as that, but from what I read on the law side, again, verbal or written, I could submit either one of them, and they refused to. But the biggest problem is that how Major's behavior was today is why I came here. Mm-hmm. Is because he was telling people not to answer my questions. He told the lady not to take my paperwork from my...
You think... Well, I'm sorry. He did do that in the police office.
Yeah, in the police office. He told her not to take the paperwork and not to answer any questions. She's the records lady is a public representative as well too. What me and him had as far as the complaints, this was something separate. And as I tried to explain to him, I said, our complaints that I had with you is different than the FOIA request that I'm filing for here. And he just shut everybody down.
So where are your requests? Do you have a copy of the request?
I left the FOIA request on her desk, asked her, I said, can I place them right here? Or anyone on your desk? And she said yes. I said, is this empty spot on the desk okay with you? And she said yes. So they have been served the open request forms.
Okay, now, let me go back. What is it you're asking for underneath the open requests?
The fee schedule of what it costs taxpayers to access different parts, or what the fee schedule is for open request. Y'all have different fees for different things, such as $30 for a CD, 25 cents or something for a printed piece of paper. I just want to see what the fee schedules are associated with the request
Okay, but
for
the
open
fee, the
request.
fee schedules are not oriented totally to open request. Open requests are determined based on each request.
Right, now I understand, but
If
you
you
have
came
you
in
have a
and asked
guideline.
for the payroll for all the employees,
Mhm.
there isn't a price that we have on that. It's calculated out, and then they get back with you and say, are you willing to pay for this information?
Now, the request was to view the request, the records, not to have printed copies of it.
They still have to be prepared.
Um,
Somebody has to go and pull
Well,
it.
the lady, when I filed the first FOIA request, okay, she pulled up the thing and ran her finger down a chart right there and said it's $35.
Okay.
Okay, so the request is already there. The calculations for the time, the first 15 minutes is free for search anyway. Okay, so the request of just pulling up that paperwork for the fee schedules associated with the open records request. could
Okay,
be done
did you
within
agree to
15.
pay?
Hmm?
Did you agree to pay?
They didn't take my request. That's what I'm saying.
I thought they took it first time,
Yeah, the first time I agreed to it, yes,
Okay.
for the disc because I wanted to get the CD.
and they have not provided that to you?
No,
Is
they
that what you're
provided. No, they gave me that one.
Okay.
That's how I found out that the audio was not working anymore.
saying? Okay,
on
so
the
the
vehicle.
first round, city did comply with your open records request.
That's correct. The second go around,
Okay,
they're
the
not,
second go round, what'd you come back and ask for on the second go round?
which is today,
Right.
fee schedule for the opens records, and the information pertaining to.
Okay, but there is not a specific fee schedule for open records. That's what I'm telling you.
Anything that they had. She had a printed or chart on her computer.
Okay, well, we can
That-
give you a fee schedule.
Okay, that's what I was asking. That
Okay.
they charge for what their fee schedules are for open requests. They charge here. If it's 25 cents for a piece of paper, per paper
It
printed.
depends on the request. They can
Right.
give you a general idea.
Well, I just want to get whatever they
I
have.
know, but I want to
available.
make sure we're clear.
Right, no, I understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
because if you come in and say, I want to see the schedule
Mm.
for open records requests, there is none. Okay, because every open request is
Well,
different.
It's different, right.
There
But
is
there's
a basic fee
baseline.
schedule,
Right.
and that can be provided to you.
And that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
The second thing is to see if the records are available that are open to the public, because I don't know if they are or not, as far as maintenance maintenance towards the vehicle that was in question, because Major said they get repaired. I do think he did say today too that in our discussion back and forth that he did say that it was repaired. So I think I've got it on record saying that he said it was repaired. So I had requested opens record request to see if that's available to public, if it's public information, to view that repair.
Okay?
Okay, which he would not let them take today. Those were the two open requests I had. Then I had 3 complaints that I was trying to submit today that they would not take.
Okay, now the complaints are separate.
Absolutely.
From
That's what I'm
open
saying.
records.
That's what I said. There's 2 different processes
Right.
here. He stopped both processes. He stopped the complaints and he stopped the FOIA request process.
Okay, now let's deal with your complaints.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Is it my understanding you want to file 1, 2, or 3 complaints
That's correct.
and not sign any affidavit or anything?
That is correct.
I see. Okay. So how would we know who to respond back to and to deal with then on your complaints if if we don't know who it is?
Well, normally when you work a complaint, you work it through until you find a resolution, whether unfounded, founded, or resolved. And then you have
So
a
how would
record.
they know to contact you?
I can come back. Nothing's preventing me from coming back and checking on that. And in the records, I actually reference a code number or reference number on myself, so I can go back and say, hey, I want to reference this reference number here on my complaint form. And it even states it out in the actual complaint as well too,
Okay.
so that I can track it. Any person in the public can actually pull that up without actually having to pull up my information as well too.
Maybe. Depending
open
on the
to-
circumstances.
Right, if it's open for public, you know, every statement I'm making is with the intentions of that it's open to the public, okay?
Mhm.
Not saying anything that's not open for, which I understand there's different things there. So, where were we at on the conversation?
I was just trying to follow up on the information you provide.
Okay. But you said you wanted to address the 3 different complaints as well too? Against the police department?
Well, you turned them in?
They didn't accept it.
Okay, do you have them with you?
I have them in my truck. I can go get them.
You can get them to me then.
Okay, I'll do that then. Give me a few minutes to get back down there. Alright. We got that. I'm sorry, what was his name again?
Lee.
Lee?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm back. Mind if I re-enter again?
Sure.
Thank you. I didn't know if you had somebody else in here, so I was asking.
No?
Alright, thank you. Alright. This one here is actually against Officer Adrian Moss. He was the officer with the vehicle. My concern with him on that one, I guess you want to
So this does actually go beyond just a request for open records on the camera then?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's complaints and the open request.
Okay. Did the complaint come in at the same time as your open records request last time?
No, the complaints are separate.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to submit this complaint to the chief originally when I came in the first time when I actually got directed to Major because the chief was out, and then Major wouldn't address the complaints with me.
All right.
Okay, so that's the first one. That one again that's in relation to that he turned his body camera off while he was transporting a subject in the vehicle, and that was before
Allegedly.
No, he did. From the FOIA request from the CD that they gave me, the video cuts off both vehicle and from the body camera. He physically goes up and turns his camera off before he transfers a female subject over to someone else, and he's still in transportation of that female to the jail.
Was that your complaint?
That is the complaint for against Moss, yes. Now, he was cordial in person when we talked with him and everything, but the issue is him turning the body camera off while he has a suspect.
I understand.
Okay? Because that proves whoever's viewpoint that's saying what they're allegating during that time frame. And that's bad practice. The second one is actually against the Department of Perry. The Perry Police
Department as a whole.
Police Department of Perry, excuse me, I misspoke.
You're
About
right. The
them
department as a whole,
Okay.
because
failure to maintain the vehicle's audio and video of the patrol cars. And again, Officer Moss, Major Moss, Major Phelps, and the Chief Lynn have both indicated and said that the cameras do not work there. I have it also an audio recording as well too. I didn't have my camera network with me then of my conversation with Chief Lynn and him saying that yes, he agreed with me that the cameras in the patrol cars were not working at that time. And he said he agreed with me 100%. This one here is actually, these 3 pages here, or excuse me, 2 pages here, are against Major Phelps in the interaction that we had that day. On the last page, if you look at the last page, it'll indicate the actual link to the video clip that you can pull up and review that yourself and see how it actually transpired.
okay,
Okay,
fine.
so you got 3 complaints there,
That's what you've given me so far, yes.
and I had an extra copy of. Actually, I just printed on. This is one of the FOIA requests that I submitted for the department vehicle for the repairs, as he indicated that they were completed. And the other part, I believe, was on there too. It indicates if Officer Moss submitted any repair orders or work orders or complaints pertaining to that unit's audio or video not working in that car. And
Okay.
the concern behind that, and I'll tell you about the work orders, is that if Officer Moss submitted information, repair orders against the vehicle for the audio not working in the vehicle, which means he knew that it didn't work, so turning the body camera off while transporting a female actually makes that more of a concern. If he didn't submit any repair orders or didn't complain about it, then that means he didn't know. So turning the body camera off is kind of not that big of an issue if the cameras were working in the vehicle. Now, I also explained to in the vehicle section where the cameras cut off at before they reach the jail at. There's not a whole lot of distance there between point A and point B where the cameras cut off at to the jail. But again, the issue is that there's no evidence or nothing happening in between that area. And again, if something happened to the officer, or let's say that it was a female, and this is hypothetical, these are not real allegations, this is all hypothetical, okay? If the female alleged allegations against the officer for misconduct, inappropriate misconduct, there's no evidence against that, and that's his word versus her word. And in certain cases, that could be career-ending for the officer, or it leads to a lawsuit, which us as taxpayers eat that cost. And it would be avoided if the cameras were there, because we'd have proof either way, knowing yes, this happened, no, it did not happen. So there's no misunderstanding there. The camera is an impartial judge, well, not even judge, but an impartial witness. It records everything. It hears the sides of both sides, the tones, the actions that are going on. It can even pick up whispers. And it shows it as it is. It doesn't change anything as long as there's no special editing involved, but the raw footage does. And what's posted online is the raw footage from me going into the door and me coming out. There was nothing edited into that or taken out of that. And I've got the original footage. I'll be happy to show if that's ever called into question. But like I said, the original complaint originally was just, the first complaint was that the officer Moss had turned his body camera off. Okay, I was going to discuss that with the chief. Chief wasn't there. I got sent to Moss, and then everything else kind of transpired from that part.
When you originally came in, you originally had the open records request. Is that it?
When I went into there,
Yes. First time you went to the police department.
I had an open, not this, it was a separate one. It was an open records request for the video of the female person that was in the car. Okay, it's somebody that I know. So
Obviously.
right. So I did that, and this is not in retribution or retaliation or anything like that. I worked security when I was in the military. Okay, and I know how things can get turned around real quick, especially when there's not audio and video. Okay.
Okay, but I want to make sure I've got the sequence here.
Okay.
You came in with an open records request,
Correct.
and that information was provided to you.
It wasn't provided complete.
Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't complete because...
It was missing footage on the disc, the original disc.
Now, how do you know it was missing footage?
There's a front camera, back camera, and body camera. And there was, I was missing the front camera of the patrol car leaving that area. They uploaded the wrong video in addition to that, which was him traveling behind a school bus. And I actually was on location, and I was actually in front of the police officer, and there was no school bus between me and the police officer. So I went to address that, and he reprinted. Chief reprinted the disc for me with the correct information.
Okay, so you did get the information
I
you
did.
request for
But it had
in your open records,
except for the audio, because the audio was not working inside the patrol car.
which they told you, right?
Which he told me after the fact, correct.
Okay.
And that's
so
part of
your
the
open
complaint.
records request part 1 was addressed.
And completed to the best of their ability at the time, correct.
That's all that they can do.
Right.
All right.
So that's a done deal on that portion.
Okay.
Okay. Then it went into moving
So then
forward.
you came back with round 2 of your open records request.
Round 2, as you call it, actually was just a follow-up to come in to talk with the chief to make sure that he got to address the issue with the car and make sure that repairs were done.
Okay.
Because he agreed with me it wasn't working. I made knowledge. He became aware of it. He had the knowledge of it. That was back in September when this happened. So there's plenty of time to get the repairs done. So I was just doing a follow-up, just to make sure everything was working.
Okay.
Okay, and then he wasn't there, and that was when I got I talked with Major at that
That
point.
was last Monday.
That was last Monday. And then, as Major, you'll see in the video, told me that if I didn't give him my name and phone number, he wasn't going to investigate. And then when I asked
Okay,
him,
now did you turn in the complaints as well?
they would
at
not
that
take
time?
him over there.
Okay, on Monday when you went to talk to Major Phelps,
I was going to
did you have an open records request at that time?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No. Today was my open request letters that I submitted.
Okay, and today was the day when you filed the complaints as well? Or tried to?
Tried
Is
to,
that right?
correct. That is correct. So today is day one on all the paperwork that you have.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I really didn't expect to have this level of hostility with them. Again, the reason, and I told Major from the get-go, the reason why I'm recording was because y'all lose audio. You don't have audio, and there's no audio in here. And when I went to talk to Major, the records lady, I told him I was outside to see him, and I walked in and told him I wanted to file an official complaint against the vehicles, or I wanted to file an official complaint. Now they tried to force me to fill out that affidavit complaint today, but when I was talking to the Major never even took any paper out to even start my complaint. He took a business card, flipped it over to write my complaint down. So I knew, excuse me, I'm gonna scratch, I can't say I knew. I felt that he wasn't taking my request seriously, and to take a complaint on a back, he wrote two things down on the back of a card, but was demanding all this information from me. I didn't feel like he was addressing my complaint or my grievances, nor having a record of what I was saying. Because I'm complaining to you now on this. What if somebody else came in to complain as well too about the vehicles, but they didn't want to go to the length that I'm going to follow up with it. I mean, this could be an ongoing thing, and I'm not alleging that. It's hypothetical. It could be, but and I said you'll see the video with the first interaction. Today was a lot worse than the first one. And if that's the kind of intimidation as citizens are getting, most people don't have the gumption to stand up and say, hey, we need to follow through with this. Or even, like, it's not even worth dealing with, And, I mean, I was talking to the Major. He raised his voice up, which I raised my voice up to his level. And then I try to back down. Chief comes in, and he says, I don't like the way your attitude or the way you're talking, you're being uncooperative. I'm like, I can't be more cooperative other than giving my name and phone number, which I don't have to. I've typed everything out. I'm willing to read it out to you and give you a verbal and written statement. I've done the work for you. All you have to do is look at it and determine if it's right or wrong. For him to call me a liar, he said, you must be lying because you won't sign a sworn affidavit. That's an insult. Because he doesn't know me.
Okay.
And he's an officer. I mean, he's accusing me of being a liar he didn't even read it. I said, if you read it, you can look at the facts and determine if they're wrong or right. It's a complaint. It's just a complaint. And it wasn't anything about anything being illegal. I don't know if there's any laws pertaining to police patrol cars being broken down. It's against the law. I don't know if there's any codes. I didn't take the time to research it. That's up for them to decide that. I was just giving them the information.
You also have the complaint about the officer's conduct.
I do
and the
have that
complaint about the
one.
department as well.
That is correct. That was
Okay.
the original complaint. Okay, the original complaint was that way. This one here, and again, you can still make a statement or a complaint against an officer's conduct, which I gave video reference as well too that you can look at as facts to determine what the outcome of what y'all want to do with that. Okay, but today, in addition to those, the additional complaint that I'd like to address with you that may, and I'll leave that up to your y'all's determination on that at this point.
No, sir. It'll be your determination.
Okay.
You tell me what it is you want done or how you perceive it, and then that's where we'll go from there.
Well,
It's not going to be my determination about whether I interpret this as your complaint or not. You tell me.
As far as the statement I was about to make.
Okay?
Okay. From what I've read on the Open Record Act, okay, by preventing somebody from filing an Open Record Act, that's considered a misdemeanor. I think it says punishable up to $1,000. I'm not trying to get $1,000 or anything like that, but I believe that's what the charges are for refusing to comply with the Open Records Act law.
All right, so is that a
Okay.
charge you're making?
According to what I've read online.
No, not according to what you
Of
read
the
online.
law.
I am asking you, Mr. Citizen,
Mhm.
are you filing a complaint or a charge relative to that?
I am filing a complaint that he refused to take the complaint, the FOIA request, and that he demanded the ladies not to take the stuff and not to talk to me, to accept my FOIA request. That's my complaint that I'm making. Now,
Okay.
if there's any allegations that are legal ramifications associated with that statement, then that's up to you guys to determine.
So
to
what
follow
is it
suit.
you want done to address your complaint?
I'd like for them to be re-educated on the process for Open Records Act, not to be intimidated for a citizen to come in to file a complaint. There shouldn't be a level of harassment to citizens to come in to give an oral or written complaint.
Alleged harassment.
Alleged harassment, okay. If we're using legal terminology, okay. But my perception was that I felt harassed.
Okay.
And intimidated by their actions. And when I say their actions, I'm referring to today, okay?
Right.
Not with the Moss thing, okay?
Mm-hmm. And you still want to be anonymous on this, is that correct?
At this point, yes.
At this point?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I guess, there's several different allegations and stuff, or not allegations, but statements. that are
Okay,
made there.
let me back up, Mr. Citizen.
Mhm.
Okay. How much more stuff do you have here?
What do you mean?
Well, you gave me this. You told me what your current one is from the actions today. Is there something else you have, some other concerns or whatever that you want to address now?
No.
Or did you want to go back and come back in? What?
Well, I was just about to say,
How do you want this to be dealt with?
that's what I was just about to say.
Okay.
Is out of the different statements here, I know each one has a different process. Okay, as far as investigating or looking into each one, I don't expect you to look at them collectively all as one. You may. It's up to you. What I was going to ask before you went to your statement is, how long do you need, or do you think you need, to follow up on this?
I don't know.
Okay. Would a week, 2 weeks would be a good time?
I think that should be fine. I don't know exactly how long. You can give me a call. It's got a oh, for crying out loud. Camera that too? Okay.
Well, it's just for
Yeah.
recording
Okay.
purposes. But
As I don't know all the particulars with it. I will look into this and get the information as soon as I can. And the contact is this digital.
I'm sorry.
The contact to get you the information back to you.
I can just come back into the office and follow up with you if that's okay.
Okay, so you are going to individually come and follow up then. We don't
Absolutely.
have to contact
That's
you.
correct. And that's what I try to explain to them as well, too. I'll be more than happy to follow up and come in. If it takes them a week, 2 weeks, or a month, I don't mind coming back in periodically and checking up with them.
Uh-huh.
But that was not good enough for them. I mean, is that okay with you? That I just would come in and follow up, even if you're not completed with it? You say, hey, I'm still working on it. Is that good to go?
It is fine with me as long as you understand that those are the conditions that you have stated, so therefore the 3-day deal is out now.
Right, and I understand. The FOIA request is 3 days with them on the FOIA request.
I know,
That they
but
received.
we're going back over on this right now.
Mhm.
Okay, so at least as far as I'm concerned, I don't know particularly what happened other than the information that you gave me, going through and checking to see, but on your open records and everything, if I don't have any other contact information, then I go by what you request.
Right.
You have requested to personally come.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm advising you that if you're planning on doing that, that negates the automatic 3-day to respond, because we wait for you to come back in.
Right. Would you have 3 days to respond to that, and so on day 3, if I came in, I should have a response on day 3.
I would be able
But
to
you
tell
wouldn't
you
be
something where it is.
Right, and that's all I need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So,
I don't want
yeah,
it. I don't want any misunderstanding.
I know I don't
that
expect
because
you
you
to do that.
filed this and you don't give any contact information, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not contacted in 3 days, that's a violation of the Open Records Act.
I understand that.
And I want to emphasize that's not the case because of your decision.
Right, no, I'm
Okay.
totally aware of that. Totally aware of that. But there should be a statement that would be recorded at the end of 3 days, whether it's still being investigated or pending or whatever the results are on that. The open record request is to actually to view. Okay, so I can come in. Do I need to follow up with you or with them since they would have?
Well, I would suggest you follow up with me since you're not satisfied about the response you had at the police department.
I just wanted to confirm because I didn't know if you want to address that and I need to continue with them or if I need to come over here with you.
Not based on your concerns. I don't
Okay.
see where it'd do any good.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there's 2 different places. So. Okay.
Okay?
But yeah, I'll be more than happy to follow up I'll come in if you're still working on it. Say, hey, I'm still working on it. I'm good with that. You know, as long as it doesn't roll into like a year or 2 years or something
It's
like
not,
that.
it's
you know?
not going to be a year.
Right. No, I'm just hypothetical, not real allegations. Okay,
Mhm.
I apologize. Do you have any questions about any of the statements or anything I need to elaborate any further with?
No, just let me make copies of these
Oh, you
here.
can keep those for yours.
You're sure?
Yeah, I went and paid for those so
Okay.
so that they could have them, but they didn't want them. So, like I said, I try to do everything for them. I type it up, give it all, everything's written down, so they didn't have to do anything. I try to make their job easy today. I
Okay.
really did, and it turned into be a big disaster. They would not accept it unless I signed a sworn affidavit. And in lieu of that, they wanted to put me into an interview room with cameras for a complaint originally. And again, this is no criminal complaints that I'm alleging. It's just complaints that
Well, I don't know,
Except
sir,
for the-
whether your complaint is
except for
criminal
the
or not
one-
about Officer Moss.
I didn't say I was alleging a criminal complaint. I said I'm not.
I know
alleging
you're
a criminal
not.
complaint.
I know you're not saying right now
Right.
that it's not.
With
I don't
the
know
exception of
necessarily
the
whether
FOIA
possibly
request.
could be concerned about that or not, as well as your complaint against the entire Perry Police Department.
For failing to maintain the vehicles, correct? Because that would be the patrol
Allegedly
guy.
failing to maintain the vehicles.
Based off the information that I received from the chief and the major and the one disc video of evidence that I have, that's 3 different sources saying they weren't working. I got a major that says
Saying that one vehicle
no.
was not
Major
working.
said that their vehicles, the audio go off and on all the time. That's what the major. You'll see it in the video, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Major alleges that. That's why I'm saying the statement that I'm saying. He said, audio on that stuff goes off up and down all the time. So
Okay.
if that's my camera stuff doesn't go off up and down all the time. My audio works. If it doesn't work, I get a replacement. But audio always works on my stuff. But if the patrol car stuff is going up and down all the time, like he said it was, again, he would know about it more than I would. Okay, then I have to take him for his word for that. And if that's the case, that is a concern that should be addressed.
Mhm.
They should be fixed.
Okay.
Anything else that you'd like for me to elaborate any further, or?
I don't think so, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No. Do I need to submit a separate complaint about his refusal for the FOIA request?
I would suggest you do that, yes.
Okay, I will type that up and bring that into you in a couple of days, I guess.
Whenever it's convenient for you.
Are there any days during the week that you're not here, or less convenient for you?
It does not matter.
You sure? I'm willing to work with you. I mean, like if Mondays are too busy, I can come on Tuesday for you.
It does not matter. Whenever you have it, whenever you're ready to go, that's fine.
Okay, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mind if I shake hands?
No, not at all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Take my deaf brother home with me. So hold on a second. So it looks like you can go to City Council and talk with them about the Perry Police Department for complaints if the police department won't accept them.